Hi there, this is Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to create a bunch of colorful cards with the Color Your World in Friendship August 2021 My Monthly Hero add-ons. This video contains only ideas for using the add-ons and not the main kit. Please be sure to visit the other hero artists and designers blogs for inspiration for the main kit. Hopefully this will give you an idea of what to do with all of the incredible add-ons. So this is the Sun Flare window die. I die cut this from smooth white cardstock, and then I've kind of just popping each of these sections out of the frame. So you can use it with the frame or without. I'm going to kind of keep my frame, keep all of the pieces, and then we will assemble this in a really fun way in a little bit. We're going to create all of our backgrounds first, and then we'll go back and use some of the greetings and images and other great things from the add-on release. I am using all Hero Hues Reactive inks for this today. That was Thistle. And then the deeper purple is Purple Galaxy. Then we're using Blue Hawaii. I am using a lot, like almost all, I think, of the Hero Hues Reactive inks here for each of these sections. I wanted each section of this die cut to be a different color, so I made sure to kind of grab all of those different colors. I'm cleaning my work surface between switching those colors so that I don't cross-contaminate. This is Splash Reactive ink. And I'm also using a little piece of Post-it tape, although I should have removed it before moving my way up that sun ray, so it didn't get that harsh line, so I inked back over it. But the Post-it tape helps hold the die in place as I start to ink it. I tried to concentrate the darker part of the color down near the base and then lighten it towards the end of the ray. This is Blue Raspberry Reactive ink, and then Pool Party is next. I absolutely love these reactive inks because they do react with water or other liquid, which you will see here in a minute. Once we have this all inked, I am going to use one of my favorite Hero Arts products to give a little distressing and sparkle to this beautiful design. You guys know I am always a sucker for all of the great die cuts from Hero Arts, and this month there is no exception, nor shortage of amazing frames that are just great for all kinds of crafting. So that was Green Apple, Key Lime Fizz, and oh gosh, what's the yellow? Lemon Drop. Sometimes with all of these ink colors, it is hard to remember what's what. That lighter purple color I just used is Berry Smoothie. I do not use that one very much, and I don't know why. I love it. So Berry Smoothie going into Taffy, then we'll finish with Fruit Punch and Creamsicle. And there is our little creamsicle. Okay, now that we have all of this, I am going to put Post-it tape on the back of the Sun Flare Window Fancy die and place each of these rays back inside. I want them to be in order for this next step. This is also great if you wanted to use the frame. I'm going to actually discard mine, but if you want to use it, I would definitely hold on to it. Now I am spritzing everything with the white iridescent shimmer from Hero Arts, which is my absolute favorite. You can see that it's created some great little oxidized water splatters all over, and I'm going to set that aside to dry. The great thing is it will be sparkly droplets. So this is the Rays of Color Window Fancy die, which is similar to the one we just used. So there's the Sun Flare window and then the Rays of Color. Both of these die cut the frame and then all of the rays. I actually won't be using the frame on either one. However, you definitely can. Very, very much like the last one, we're just inking up all of the rays. I tried to make some of the rays sections here. If I used a smaller section with a color on the last one, I tried to do bigger ones here just for a different look. I don't think there's quite as many sections for this particular card, so there won't be, I don't think I used Berry Smoothie. I'm going to double check here. I think that might be the only color I didn't use on this one was the Berry Smoothie. So maybe one less section, but beautiful rays. And again, you could save your frame and use it. You can use it as a stencil. There are just a lot of different things you can do with that. I am also kind of placing these sections back into the frame just like I did before, because I am going to splatter this with the white iridescent shimmer just like the last card. We're just going to be adhering each of these a little differently to our card design. And I accidentally inked this up upside down, so I flipped it over and we'll just re-ink it. I hate when that happens. So very similar to the last step, I'm just going to speed through the rest of inking these sections. I would love to know if you have used the Hero Arts Reactive inks at all. They are one of my very, very favorite Hero Arts products. I know I talk about them all the time. I absolutely adore them, and I think they are a fantastic product. They come in a beautiful assortment of bright colors, and I just love them. So again, we're going to use our box. We're going to spritz this with the white iridescent shimmer, and then I'm going to set this aside to air dry while I work on my other backgrounds. But this is going to give each of those sections some nice oxidation with a little bit of shimmer. And I like to use a box to kind of help contain my splatters and all of that good stuff. Next, I did use a little pixie spray on the back of the Rays of Color stencil. So like the Rays of Color die, there's a stencil that matches. It's a 6x6 stencil. And this time we're going to ink up the background with a combination of Lemon Drop and Creamsicle inks for a sunny sky. This would also look amazing with rainbow color if you wanted to, but I wanted to showcase kind of a different kind of card here. So I'm going for more traditional sun ray colors, I guess you want to call them. And I'm blending together these two colors to get the perfect blend. And then I will be trimming this down after bit to be a little bit smaller, but we'll get to that when we put the card together. Our next background is the Rainbow Window Fancy Die. This also comes with an oval. I snipped the oval away. We're going to die cut the center piece of this from some Bristol Smooth cardstock. And then I'm going to color in the rainbows and clouds around the opening with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I've listed the marker colors across the top of the screen for easy reference. We're doing kind of a pastel, bright, I guess, yeah, pastel assortment. Pink, kind of a yellow orange, and then a turquoise sun ray, since each of these only has 3 rays, and then a blue haze cloud. I love these frame dies for just adding a bit of color around the edge of the opening. Very simple and very easy. Now the rainbows do die cut, they just don't die cut all the way out, and this is going to be important for when we assemble this frame. I'm going to turn this into a shaker card. I thought this would be a really fun and easy shaker card design, and so we will do that in a bit. This haze blue I blended out with the blender pen. You can also use a little bit of water. Off camera, I believe. I don't think I did it on camera. I did use a little water because I felt like one of the blue clouds was just a little harsh. And so I will come back and add a little water later to blend out that blue color a little bit more. But I love these. It's very, very quick and easy. And the color, once you get all the color for the rainbows, I think they are a real showstopper. This is, I always love to open up my package and then I kind of pull out and I'm like, ooh, this is my favorite. No, this is my favorite. Literally this month, I say this every month. I know I do. It's all so good. I am a huge, huge fan of the add-ons. One of the best things about the add-ons is that if they sell out here on release day or shortly thereafter, they'll be restocked. And they are also available at your favorite retailers. So that is another big bonus of the add-ons, is that they aren't going to be out of stock and then unavailable. So that's kind of why I showcase those for you guys, so that hopefully if maybe you can't pick up all of the add-ons today, that you can always pick them up at a later time. We're going to just finish coloring in these rainbow rays. You can see I do pretty quick coloring. And then we'll do around the clouds. So these next two cards, this one and the next one, are both going to feature more of a watercolor look with the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers. Aren't those pretty? I just think this is so unique. Hero Arts is definitely the best at unique frames. They are always one of my most favorite things that Hero Arts comes out with, especially, they do them in their releases as well, but I feel like every month they just bring out the most amazing frames to go with their My Monthly Hero release. And I don't know that anyone else does frames quite as good as they do like this. I just think they're always unique and very fun. This would also look great landscape and not portrait if you prefer that. So keep that in mind. I'm going to do mine, obviously portrait, but I think you could flip it on its side as well. And don't forget, you can use the oval frame that comes with it if you don't want it to be square. This is the Floral Color Wheel Bold Print. One of my other favorite things from Hero Arts is their bold prints. Their backgrounds are amazing. So this is a very simple one. I stamped it on Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm coloring it in with Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers. I stamped it with the Hero Arts embossing and watermark ink. I made a huge mess with my embossing powder. And then I am heat embossing with white embossing powder here. So that white embossed area is just going to kind of help hold in the color in each of these sections. We will basically be watercoloring this entire thing. I think just the corners really don't have any color here today. We're going to have more deeper color in the center with more color, and then I'm going to add more and more water the further out from the center of the floral color wheel that we get. We're using peach pink and sugared almond pink. Oh, I did leave the watercoloring of the clouds on camera. I just felt like softening those a little bit, so I went ahead and did that really quick. So peach pink and sugared almond pink for the first petal. For the next one, we are going to do a little carmine. Nope, I lied. We're going to do violet and light violet. I went the other direction. So I lay down the dark color, I blend out a bit with the lighter color, and then I take my water brush pen filled with water and blend out the rest. That was blue and light blue. Next we have cobalt blue and light blue, so we're reusing the light blue color for a little bit lighter blue petal. Turquoise green and green shadow are next. Then green and light green, and then we'll reuse the light green and pair that with yellow green for the petal next to it. We'll just kind of do those both at the same time. Oh, look how pretty this is. Bright yellow and yellow is next. Then orange and pale orange. And finally, we'll finish with our carmine and light carmine. Kind of went the opposite direction than normal, but it all works. So for the next section, because I kind of worked in circles, I'm going to pair the two colors that are next to each other, or at least two colors from one from each of those, I guess, and then blend them together. And I have not done this particular kind of coloring with my zigs before, but I loved it. It gives you a little bit different color combination. I did not add quite as much color for the most part, and I'm just blending these out together, and lots and lots of water. And you get some different mixes. I loved this. I thought it turned out super pretty. I want to color all of the things now with this color wheel because I just think it's so pretty. Another idea for using this, obviously you can use any sorts of watercolor that you love. Even the Hero Arts liquid watercolors would be amazing here. You can ink blend over this. I think that would be incredible. Use your Hero Hues Reactive inks and ink blend over the top. I love the turquoise green and green blended together that I did here. You can see it there. Oh, I love the blue green. I thought it turned out super pretty. I also love the orange red color combo. Those are maybe my two favorites. And then we're going to work our way to the next tip. And I just kind of tried, like I said, to add more and more water each time. And I'm still kind of creating some blends. But it's getting lighter and not quite as concentrated. We're going to be left with a beautiful floral watercolored panel in rainbow that I just love. A little green shadow and a little yellow green. I liked this combo too, although I could have added a little bit more green shadow, I feel like. Here's a little green and a little yellow green, or no, turquoise green and yellow green, which I love. I like that one. The turquoise green is one of my favorite markers. We'll just keep adding blends, and then we'll have one more section after this, the very tip of the petal. I love the orange and the carmine together. This is kind of carmine and pink. It's looking good. Let's do those last tips of the petal. We're going to add like the lighter color, I think, from each color and just do a really light wash. I was counting to see how many colors I wanted to do here. And then I accidentally did red in this section and it totally was wrong. So I'm going to let it dry. I actually moved around to the other side because I was so mad at myself. I wanted to use like blue, or actually I think I wanted to use purple there. And so I put the wrong color where that red tip is, and I'm going to color over that once it's completely dry. So we're going to work on all of the rest of the tips of these petals. I like to leave in my mistakes like that so you guys hopefully can get ideas of how to fix them when you do the same thing. I was in such a hurry to get this colored, I wasn't even paying attention. So here's that light violet. And that really kind of helps disguise the fact that that was red before, and I'll just move the light carmine over here. And I'm going to let this completely air dry. So this is the Rainbow Infinity dies. There's also a stamp set that you can use with this. I only used the dies today. I inked up the edges of my cloud border with Pool Party ink, and then we're going to ink up our rainbow rays with the Hero Hues Reactive inks as well. So this is Fruit Punch. We will also be using Taffy. That's going to be for the biggest one. Then we will use Creamsicle, Key Lime Fizz, and Pool Party to round it out. I know I use Pool Party for the edges of the cloud, but that's just to give them a hint of color. We will use a much more heavier hand when applying the ink to the Rainbow Ray, so it really gives it a completely different look, I feel like. This is the background that I did trim down quite a bit as well because I want that cloud border to go across the bottom. And I'll show you that here when I start assembling. And then the sun I inked up with Lemon Drop and also a little bit of Creamsicle around the edges. The sun doesn't go on this card, but I had it out, so I went ahead and colored it. So let's move on now to our first card background. I am taping the frame in place. I basically have everything I need to assemble my cards now, either inked or whatever. So we're just going to kind of start back here from the beginning. I have my white card base, my white top fold card base, and we're going to use the Sunflare Window Fancy Die. I'm going to tape this in place kind of at the top and the bottom to hold it down and use it as a kind of guide or stencil for attaching the rainbow sunflare rays. So I want to make sure it's completely straight, and then I will show you a couple of these on camera. However, it did take a few minutes to add foam adhesive to the back of each of these, so I will do the rest of them off camera and just show you the finished result. But I'm using a combination of foam adhesive squares and foam adhesive strips on the back of each of these and popping them up. I love the effect. I like how they are all raised up a little bit instead of flat to the card. It gives you a different look. With the the next one, the rainbow or Rays of Color, pardon me, sorry guys, Rays of Color Window Fancy Die, that one we will attach directly to the card base, and that way you can kind of see the difference. So this just gives a little bit of dimension to these rays. I picked this one over the other one to do this with, mostly because the tips of these rainbow rays is a little bit wider and it's going to fit those thin foam adhesive strips. That is why I chose this one over the other one, just to be completely transparent with you, because the tips of the Rays of Color are a lot narrower, so it'd be hard to get the adhesive clear to the end. I'm going to carefully pull out my stencil or my little outline here, and we're left with this awesome dimensional rainbow background. I love it. I love that little bit of dimension. So to finish this card, I actually took one infinity heart die. This is not new from the August release. This is from my stash. This is the Hero Arts Nesting Hearts Infinity Dies. Die cut it from slate gray cardstock. We stamped a sentiment from the brand new Paper Hug Stampin' Cut right there on this heart accent, and it says, "This isn't a thank you card, it's a paper hug." I trimmed off the edge of the heart with my paper trimmer so that it'll line up with the edge of my background. And then we're just going to kind of shift it over to the right and line it up here on the side. And now all that we need to add are a few simple extra heart embellishments. So for this next background, this is going to be where I attach these directly to the card base. I'm going to pretty much do what I did with the last card and tape my stencil in place, and then I'm just drawing in each of these sections with liquid glue and replacing each of the rays. I did stamp sentiments from the brand new Color Me words on one of these before doing this step. While they were still attached in the frame, I stamped and embossed Color Me Thankful. You can build all kinds of sentiments with this awesome Color Me words stamp set. Definitely stay tuned to the end of the video. I will do a walkthrough and show you each of the cards and the new products I used for each card, so that in case you're curious, since I did cut out some of the stamping of sentiments and whatnot, that way it gives you a good close-up look at the add-on set that die that I used. After I have all of my rays in place, I did remove the stencil and I'm adding some great little accents. The little sparkles are from the Infinity Rainbow dies, and then I'm using little stars and hearts and all kinds of good stuff from my stash to embellish this. Very, very simple, but this is just a very fun, happy thank you card. I always love that. So the next card is going to be the Rays of Color stencil background that we did in yellows, and we're going to add a rainbow and a cloud border on top of this. I did trim down my background panel to, I believe, 3 3/4 by 5 inches, maybe a little less than 5, because I want to put my cloud down along the bottom edge and not have any of the yellow rays showing through, which you'll see here in a minute. And I made a huge mess with my silver star confetti, so I'm trying to clean that up. We're going to trim down that background and place it directly on a white top fold card base. Now the sentiment for this background is from another new set, the Better Together set. I'm going to use You Are a Great Friend, and we're going to stamp that with black ink. So I'm just kind of playing around right now, making sure I can figure out my placement. So I just need to use the top rainbow ray so I can see where I want to stamp the You Are a Great Friend. Then I'll grab my Misty and I will stamp my sentiment with the VersaFine Onyx black ink right here. I did use my Misty, which is good because I didn't feel like I got the best stamped impression the first time. Probably didn't ink it up very well or press it very well. So I'm just going to make sure it's lined up, ink it again, and stamp that one more time. I love the fonts here. That script is really fun. Then we're going to place our panel, excuse me, right on our top fold card base. And we're going to do something really fun with the assembly of the rainbow. So let's start with our cloud border first, which is going to go down here at the bottom and cover up the bottom of the card background. Then we're going to glue our pink rainbow ray directly to the card background. We're going to take a foam adhesive strip, remove the backing paper from both sides, or not both sides, but remove it from the backing paper and then take the other side off and shape it around our rainbow ray. And that next ray is popped up, so it has dimension. The orange ray is going to be adhered directly to the card base. The green one is going to, again, have foam adhesive all over the back. So they just kind of alternate being raised up a bit, which I love. And then the blue one will be adhered directly to the card base. We're going to finish this card with a scattering of hearts and stars as well. So super simple embellishment, just a little something to give it, you know, that fun decorative touch. Off camera, I didn't do this on camera. I did take a white pen and add some little like highlight details to my rainbow. But that's completely, you know, optional. All of this is optional. You can do whatever you want with your stamp set. But just was a little bit of a extra touch to give it a finishing look. And I'm using the Barely glue to use that and an embellishment wand to pick all these little pieces up and pop them in place. So our shaker window is next, which is the Rainbow Window Fancy Die. And this time I'm going to trim a piece of acetate to go back behind this, and we are going to stamp the acetate with a sentiment from the, well, now I can't remember the name. All the names are running together, guys. The Paper Hug Stampin' Cut. So you can see I added the sun. That's from the Rainbow Infinity dies. I tucked it back behind the rainbow. That was what I was talking about earlier, that the rainbow does die cut, so you can tuck that little sun, which I love. That was probably one of my little favorite things I did today. I'm stamped sending hugs with cotton white StazOn ink on my acetate window. I did ink up a background panel with Pool Party Reactive ink and splattered it with the white iridescent shimmer, just so that we have a nice contrasting color back behind our window. We are going to place the acetate on the back of our rainbow window fancy die. We're going to put foam adhesive all the way around the edges and fill our shaker with the silver star confetti, and then place the backing paper, which is that pool party inked panel, on the back of that. And we'll have our shaker all finished. So super simple shaker, but I absolutely love this. And I'm going to place that last little red heart right below the word hugs directly on the window. For our final card, I used the paper hug Stampin' Cut. Nope, I lied. I used the word, yes, I think it is from that. It is. Okay, yes, I used the word hug from that. So I'm going to show you that, and I just stamped and embossed the rest. So this is the color wheel bold print that I used on that, and the paper hug Stampin' Cut for both the stamped and embossed sentiment as well as the die cut sentiment. Right there in the center, very, very simple. You can see it's got the hands and the word hug that comes with that paper hug Stampin' Cut. I also used a sentiment from the paper hug Stampin' Cut for this card here, as well as the sun flare window fancy die. And then the heart infinity dies from Hero Arts as well, but that is not a new product, but here is what that looks like. I always love a good heart. You guys know that. Here is the rainbow window fancy die. Again, the sentiment is from the paper hug Stampin' Cut. There is the rainbow window comes with the oval. And then the sun is from the rainbow infinity dies. Again, rainbow, clouds, all from the rainbow infinity dies. For this next card, our sentiment is from Better Together. We have our sun flare, pardon me, stencil. The next card uses a sentiment from the Color Me Words stamp set, and then of course the Rays of Color window fancy die. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video featuring lots and lots of new add-ons from the Hero Arts August 2021 My Monthly Hero release. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Hero Arts products that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.